Welcome to the Becoming a Streamer podcast by Pipeline, where we interview your favorite streamers and learn about their journey to where they are today. I'm your host and co-founder of Pipeline, Snoopeh. Today, I'm joined by Voyboy, one of the most popular League of Legends creators in the world. He's been creating content online for a decade now, since he was 15 years old. He first got his start on a platform called Livestream.com before Twitch even existed, and has now got over 1.2 million followers on Twitch. If you're looking for someone with experience in the industry, Voyboy is definitely the podcast you want to listen to. He's seen so many different ups and downs in the space. If you love the episode, please make sure you share it with a friend. Let's listen to the episode. Boy, we've competed against each other, and I've had the privilege to watch your career grow over the years. You're not only one of the OGs of League of Legends, you're still on top a decade later. And I think it's really easy to be memey, but as a peer and as a friend, I want to give you kudos to all that you've accomplished in your career. So thanks for coming on. I think it's just the beginning for you, but I really appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I still have some awesome memories of the good old days, competing in tournaments, hanging out with Snoopeh and the boys. And yeah, man, it's definitely a fun blast to the past, but I really appreciate that. And thanks for having me. I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you and everyone at Pipeline and the fam.
Sweet. So before we jump too deep into it, I would love just to give the listeners a context on what platform you're on now, like how often you're streaming, for those that don't know you.
Yeah, for sure. So I mainly stream on Twitch. I also put a lot of work on the YouTube channel that I have, and twitch.tv/Voyboy, youtube.com/Voyboy, and all my social media stuff, of course. But I'm a former professional League of Legends player, and now I stream basically full time on Twitch, playing League and some other, variety games, whatever piques my interest at the time. Lately, been super into SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. You know how it is. But yeah, I really just try my best to have a fun, educational, solid, wholesome experience with the viewers, and just make sure that everybody that watches my stream or comes by takes something away from it. So that's kind of what I do nowadays.
Well, you're a super humble guy, and that's not changed at all over the last decade. You've really been crushing it lately, and it's awesome to see, as I said, a decade later, still on top, and it's just the beginning. I want to go way back to before I even knew you, because I think I first met you in, it was either late 2010 or 2011. Mm-hmm. I want to way back to young Joey. Where did you grow up?
So I was born in Berkeley, California. Berkeley reppin', you already know, 510. But yeah, so growing up in the Bay Area, my parents were both immigrants from Iran. They actually had to leave Iran around the time of the Iranian Revolution back in the day, and then they moved to America to start a new life and go to university, and then they had me, and then the rest was history, I guess. Then it was my childhood, and then it was all
just
the
to be clear
stuff.
I'm gonna guess that your parents are not like Twitch streamers. I'm just gonna guess.
Twitch streamers?
Yeah.
Not at the moment, but I did hear about some parents, grandmas, older folks making a career, getting into streaming and stuff. So I don't know. My mom been chilling for a bit. My dad, he's close to retiring. Maybe that's their next move. I mean, I'll have to talk to them about that.
To be honest, if that's my future when I retire, like I just get to stream. I mean, if I have the stamina still at that point. But I'm getting at the point that, were they creative? Like, I'm just wondering were they super passionate about their job? Because in your story, like, you became a competitive gamer, and I'm just wondering how you got there. Like, what led you to becoming so passionate and good at games?
For sure. Yeah, my parents definitely were creative. They both worked really hard. Basically their whole lives. They never really had much, but they did their best to try to provide for our family and me. And even though we struggled like most of my childhood, it was, yeah, it definitely inspired a lot of good habits and motivation, and gave me the inspiration to like try my best in life, whether it was like when I was in high school trying to get into like, you know, the best universities that I could in the country, or when I started like, you know, playing league and pursuing pro gaming and wanted to be like one of the best players in the world, or when I turned to streaming and I was just trying to, you know, make a great stream for the viewers and do the very best that I could do. They always definitely motivated me to like, it sounds super cliche and cheesy, but really try to be like the best version of myself and always keep like aspiring higher. Like when I was, you know, growing up, they always pushed me to keep studying, to try to like not just be like, you know, um not just like set my goals on like, okay, yeah, you're doing good enough, but like what can you do? Okay, you did a great job, what can you do better? Like what's the next step? Like how can you like, you know, learn the next year's math curriculum, so when it comes up, like, you know, you'll be ahead of the game, like all this kind of stuff. And definitely owe a lot to my parents for how much they kind of how right they raised me, and the motivation they gave me to just always try to keep doing better for myself, I guess.
That's that's really nice. I've got like goosebumps, like tinge, like it's like wholesome. When did you know that growing up? Where you're like, I am so fortunate. I need, and like I'm motivated to set these big goals, or is this like hindsight reflection?
Oh no, it's definitely hindsight. When I was a kid, I was just like, I want to watch like SpongeBob, I want to watch Arthur. Like, let me play with my like little like action figures and play my little like, you know, Pokemon cards, all this stuff. But at the same time, like I didn't I appreciate it so much now, but when I was a kid, obviously, I don't really know what's happening. I'm just kind of listening to them and like thinking, okay, I guess, you know, okay, I guess I'll study. Okay, I guess I'll play more chess. Okay, like if I do this, they'll you know, my dad will buy me a pack of Pokemon cards, like this kind of stuff. But I think they always pushed me in the right direction, and they always kind of gave me the tools that I needed to make, you know, make good things happen for myself, I guess. And I just kind of took it and did the best that I could. But yeah, it's definitely more of a reflection. When I talk to them now about like my childhood and stuff, it's like sometimes my parents will be like, you know, we're sorry we pushed you so much. Like, you know, a lot of other kids, like we felt like you didn't have like some kind of a similar childhood to like a lot of your like more American friends, this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I telling them no, like I don't say sorry. Like I appreciate everything you guys did, and you know, it goes both ways. But yeah, definitely more of a appreciation of the past, I guess.
When so competing was a big part of your career. When you before you got into competing, were you playing competitively in any video games before League? Were you like, I'm trying to get to the point when games became serious for you, that you were actually like, I'm competitive at this, I'm really good at this. At what point and what age did that happen?
Yeah, so I've been playing competitively, quote unquote, video games since I can remember. It's funny because like, you know, when I was a kid and I just had like my Pokemon Crystal version and stuff, I always wanted to have the best team. I always wanted to be able to beat everyone that, you know, I would play against. When I play Super Smash Bros. Melee with my cousins, or like, you know, family parties, that kind of stuff, I would always, you know, try to be the best. And if someone ever beat me, I'd study up like, okay, like like what's good about their character, like how can I beat them next time, and I would just kind of like learn and improve. And I was playing on like a low level at all this stuff, right? I was just growing up as a kid, but I remember even looking back on it now, like how competitive I always was, in general, but also when it came to video games. And then every like online MMO like RPG game I played, whether it was like, you know, trying to get the highest scores on Flash games on Neopets, or you know, PvP, like trying to become like the best at PvP, and like, you know, some old forgotten MMOs like Trickster Online or Mabinogi, stuff like that. I was always one of like the best PvPers on my servers. And then when I was like 15 years old, I randomly downloaded League of Legends, and I immediately fell in love with the game after playing it like one time, and you know, just kept trying to play it as much as I could while juggling high school and my parents on my back. Like I remember when I was first trying to play League as much as possible, and I was just so addicted, and like I absolutely loved the game. My mom would like walk in the room, and I think I was banned from video games for this week or something. I think we had like a bit of a family argument or something like that. So I would have it, I feel bad now, but like I told her this story, so I don't really mind. But I would have like a science project up on my screen, like Wikipedia articles and stuff, like mononucleosis, like mitochondria, and just like random tabs. And I would be playing like a league game, and my mom would walk in and I'd be like, I'd alt tab, like start typing shit on my science project because I was obviously typing when I was playing League. And she'd come in and she's like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, doing great, mom." And then sometimes she would be suspicious. She'd be in there like, "Okay, so like I think she kind of knew, but maybe she didn't want to bust me or something like that." And then she'd leave, and I'd tab back in the game, and I was AFK for like a minute or something, and I died. And I'd be like, "Hey team, sorry guys, like my bad on that." And then I'd come back and just like pop off and win the game and make it up to my team. But yeah, it's a lot of like fun stories of the trials and tribulations of a wannabe pro gamer, I guess. But I mean,
it's so funny you say that because I used to have it when I was a kid as well. But now, I mean, I'm 28, right? And I still do that when my wife comes in. I'm like, I'll tab to some like dashboard that's like doing something serious right now. I still do.
I love it, man. It's too
good. So you started to get serious at League. And you realized you were good. When did it become like something where you were starting to play in competitions or tournaments or get recognized on the NE ladder? Like when did it start to become this thing?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny since we're talking about streaming. In 2010, when this champion on League came out, Ezreal, I love this guy. I started spamming him. I played him every game. I came up with a new like meta breaking build, Wriggles Lantern Ezreal, and like Wriggles Lantern lane and stuff that kind of like changed the meta even back in like a decade ago. And I started getting some like hype for it. Like people started making posts on like the general League forums, like, who is this Voyboy guy? Like we see him in every high level game, like popping off on Ezreal. Like, why is he by Wriggles Lantern? Like, what's this kid's crazy? And then I was like, huh. A lot of people are like, hyping me up. And as a kid, like I never really like I didn't have many friends. Like no one really like my parents would gas me up when I like did well in school and stuff. But like besides for that, I never really got like hyped up for playing video games, like any of my success and stuff. So I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like I want to share this with people. So I made an account on livestream.com. I literally just Googled how to stream like online. And it was like livestream.com. So I made an account on livestream.com, and I remember it was like Voyboy, like I think I titled like best Ezreal in the world. I like photoshopped a little banner.
Wow, you had the clickbait titles going already.
Exactly, dude. I don't know, dude. 15 years old, we were making money moves like early on, but I photoshopped like a picture of Ezreal and like #1 in the world and like a smiley face or something like that, and I put it there, and then I made a post on the general discussion forums and like on the league back forums back in the day, and people would bump it for me, and it was just like, hey, boys live. And I would just be streaming, no webcam, no mic. I don't even know if I played music or anything. It was just like me playing the game, and it was just like my monitor, and I would just like type stuff in chat to people sometimes. And somehow I would get like hundreds of viewers, like even back in the day when like, barely anyone streamed, like no one had like, like a fan base in League at the time, really. Very few people did. And yeah, it was just like the first experience like sharing my gameplay with people, and it really was a magical experience because people would be like, oh my god, this guy's crazy, or like laugh at me if I messed up or all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it was like all love, and it really did kind of motivate me to keep playing and try to improve and share my like experiences and help people get better at the game, stuff like that.
That is wild. That was 2010, Joey. So it was way before Twitch, way before anything. It's not even like a business. It was just, a piece of tech.
It was before Twitch. I think maybe Justin TV was around at the time, but I don't think anyone streamed like games on that.
So why did you I don't get it. Why did you do that? Why didn't you like create a YouTube video, or why did you go to live streaming?
I don't know, dude. I think I had seen maybe somebody streaming, or someone suggested to me like, hey, you should try this out. And at the time I was just like, okay. I just literally wanted to share my experiences of playing Ezreal, and like, at the time I really did think I was the best in the world, and I had like a unique playstyle, and I just wanted people to be like, whoa, that's cool. Like I wanted to teach people how to play the way I was playing the game and the way I was able to win and stuff like that. And that was literally all that went through my head when I was 15 years old. I was like, this will be fun. Like I'll try it out. And then people really liked it and encouraged me to pursue it and keep doing it. But yeah, it is kind of crazy to think about, like
I mean, it's
How
totally
like
well.
that's
The
literally a
foresight,
decade
it's
ago.
like in the crystal ball, you know, like I gotta invest my time in live streaming like 5 years
Live
before
stream
everyone else is thinking
stonks.
about it.
Yeah, dude.
So you started doing this, you got this kind of feedback loop. I'm assuming there was no money then, right? I can't remember. I don't think there was
No,
any.
no, no, no. Nope.
So you kept doing it. Could you like, you're in school at this point, you're getting really good at League. League is a game is, you know, blowing up. It's like getting really popular at this time. So I didn't actually realize you were a content creator then before you were a competitor, essentially.
Yeah, in a way. I definitely like stopped streaming for a long time when I was like trying to become the best competitor I could. And because I had so much, like I was doing the IB program in high school, which was like a really intense high school like thing that they do. And I had the league stuff that I was trying to juggle and like some extracurriculars, and then my parents always, you know, getting me to do stuff. So it was a lot of like pressure on me. So I think I definitely took a step away from like the fun livestream.com stuff that I was doing for a bit. But I always kind of wanted to like dabble in it again, get back into it. And I think that's why like when streaming actually started to like become more of a thing for in general in gaming and also for like league players, I definitely like took an early interest and tried to put time in and make it, you know, something cool for people. But yeah, I guess in a way I was definitely streaming before I was like a pro player,
It's
which
so
is kind of
interesting to
funny to
think
think
because, like,
about.
you know, when I mean, I introduced myself, and I'm sure you do. Is, you know, I'm a former league pro, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm but you're actually a content creator turned league pro turned content creator turned like, you know, full time like entrepreneur now, and it's just and I didn't realize you did that way back then.
Yeah, man, it's been a journey, but I've never had anyone like point that out, so that is kind of cool to think about.
So when you go back, then one of the things you touched on was like you had a lot going on. You had school, you had, you know, the competitive side of League was starting to take off, and you've got this
Mm-hmm.
content creation. You kind of bench the content creation side.
Mm-hmm.
How much during your, I don't want to touch too much into the pro journey and like traveling and competing, but
Yeah.
how hard was it to balance the competing and the content? Did you feel like you just didn't make content when you were competing at all?
Yeah, so it was very hard, especially when I was more like into the pro scene and, you know, everything started to pick up and going to tournaments. There wasn't there wasn't too much of like a status quo for streaming. Like there was some people like Hotshot, like me, a lot of the old TSM guys, like everyone kind of streamed, like dabble a little bit, but I think at least in the formative years of the league scene, like placing a lot of tournaments and competing and trying to be the best player that you could was definitely like overall more important. And that's definitely where I put my priorities. Like I wanted to be the best player in the world. I didn't really think too much about like, you know, making content or trying to build a fan base or that kind of stuff. It definitely was in the back of my head like, man, it would be really cool to be able to stream more. It'd be really cool to make more guides and do more videos for people and share like, you know, all these new builds, and just have people run away and play with it and have fun them for themselves. But yeah, it was definitely hard to juggle playing pro and streaming. And I remember even in like the later years, like season 4, when I was playing in LCS full time and also trying my best to stream. Like, uh, I think I was trying to. I think I was while juggling a full LCS schedule. I think I was trying to stream like 80, 100 hours a month, which might not seem like that crazy, but when I'm competing LCS, I'm scrimming like all the time. It was actually really hard. I would basically scrim for like 8 to 10 hours a day with my team, and then I would just jump into streaming and I stream as late as I could. I go to bed. I'd wake up after like, you know, a few hours, get ready for scrims, and I would just like repeat the process for like over the course of like a few years.
It's not even the
But
time in that. Like, yeah, there's the time in your day, which is obviously a big factor, but it's the pressure. Like, you have so many eyeballs on you, so much pressure from your team, from the fans, like to be the best. And then you put this pressure on yourself to, you know, be good.
mm-hmm.
It's just a lot to try and juggle all that. How did you, you know, mental health's obviously like a really big topic, but how did
Mm-hmm.
you keep yourself, you know, level headed throughout all of that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm pretty open about my struggles with mental health that I had in my life. I've definitely had my battles with anxiety and depression and stuff. You're 100% right. Like, it was a lot of pressure from an early age and a lot of eyeballs and a lot of stuff that, you know, I kind of came into all this stuff when I was like 15 years old, right? Like, I was just like a kid, still really understanding the world, understanding myself, but at the same time, I had to like juggle all these different things, all these different responsibilities, and just try my best to come out on top. So by no means was it easy. Had to work really hard and battle through a lot. But I guess at the end of the day, like the takeaway for me looking back is, no matter how tough things got, no matter how many things I was trying to do, no matter, what was on my chest or on my plate, I always just kind of kept treading, keep my head above water, and just keep like moving towards the next goal. Like, set a goalpost for myself. Okay, this month, I want to pick up these champions. I want to stream this many hours. I want to make like this guy this video, and I also want to like obviously win all our LCS matches, this kind of stuff, and just trying to focus on the goals that were in front of me helped me not really. I mean, it still was overwhelming at times, but it helped me not get pulled down by everything else going on, I guess. And yeah, it was. I mean, it's been a pretty tough journey as far as, I mean, I'm just a guy that plays video games, but I definitely had some stuff to fight through over the last like decade, right? So
yeah, I definitely don't think a guy that plays video games does justice to everything you've done and do. But I really empathize with that, and I think a lot of listeners can empathize with the idea, like, they're not competing, so it's not like the pressure of being on a stage, but they have really busy schedules of like their regular 9-to-5 job, and then they might have a significant other, and then they're trying to make streaming a thing. Was the goal setting really helpful for you to like anchor to something and give you a reason why, or like what was this inner drive? Like, why did you push yourself so hard?
I definitely think it helped. I guess I just kind of, I just had to, right? Like, even when things were at like their hardest points, and there's definitely been years and months and weeks where, I'm overwhelmed or being, bogged down by stuff on my mind and on my plate. It's just gotta keep working, just gotta keep fighting, man. Like, it's hard, right? When you're chasing your dreams, when you're trying to, you know, pursue your passions, and whether things are working out or they're not at the time, or you just feel like everything's too much, it's super stressful. You just gotta keep going. You just gotta keep grinding through it. It's good to get help where you can. Like, I definitely relied on my significant other, my family, um, therapist, like before. Like, it's just you have to keep fighting. You have to keep going, and just chase your dreams. Like, no matter what is in front of you, right? And I think that's something that it's easy for me to say, like, looking back on it, but that's really why, like, that's really how I was able to like do all these things through thick and thin. And the good thing is, like, you don't have to do it alone, right? It's like you said, like, everyone has their own story, their own life, their own schedules, their own dreams that they're trying to chase and make happen. But hopefully there are people in your life, or resources like that, where you can trust, where you can lean on, and make sure you're not handling all that by yourself, right? Because I'm not a superhuman. I would never have been able to get to where I am today or accomplish things I did if I was just doing it all by myself, and never leaned on anyone's shoulder, never got any help, never got any advice, right? Like, there's just so many people that have been a part of my journey that I can't thank enough. It's just there's just too many stories that kind of intertwine. But
Yeah, I think
definitely looking.
you raise a really important point, which is, don't try and go it alone. The best don't go it alone. And you just shouldn't have to. When you had your significant other, and you had, therapy and things like that were helping throughout that process, or maybe even mentors, did you ever feel like you had peers that you could talk to? Because I found in my pro career, I didn't really have many peers that I could talk, because it was kind of a competitive environment.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I think that definitely had some like kind of like brotherhoods. Like I've had heart to hearts with a few of my like old teammates and friends and stuff. But yeah, I would say overall it was definitely hard to lean on like my friends and my peers and stuff because I never wanted to like strain those relationships. And also like I know like for example when I was competing LCS, like my teammates are also super stressed out. They also have so much on their plate. So I never wanted to like I never wanted to worry them or make them have to worry about my problems when, you know, I know they're dealing with their own. But I always tried my best to be there for my teams, my teammates, and my friends and stuff, and look out for them, even if I was struggling a bit, and just make sure everyone's doing good and taken care of. And it's never easy, but I I'm pretty proud looking back on like the relationships that I had with my peers, and even through the competitiveness, like you said, there's definitely there's definitely a lot of motivation for everyone to always want to do better and be their best. But I think there's definitely always like a brotherhood, like a shared understanding between everyone in the scene or in the industry, whether you're competing in esports or you're streaming, like everyone kind of gets it, right? Like we understand the the things that we all face and the trials and tribulations and the pressures and the work that it takes and all that stuff. So I think that's kind of nice to know, like, you know, people get it and they get you for the most part. So I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of comforting at the
I,
end of the
I
day.
also feel like now we're all getting a little older, and there's just a bit more maturity around this topic, and like it's not a
Mm-hmm.
zero sum game. We're all kind of in the same boat, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just creating more of a willingness to talk about things, and open up and like
Definitely.
find out like what's going on for you. I'm trying to learn this new thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you were going through all that, did you have a role? Like, you're a role model to many people, but did you have a role model? Was there anyone you looked to and were like, oh, like that's inspiring for me. I want to see if I can create something like they did.
Um, I definitely quite a few role models like over my life, but honestly, I would say the biggest role model throughout my whole life has always been my mom. Um, she really went above and beyond, like even to this day, like my whole life, like always trying to do the best that she can and motivate me to be at my best. And she fought through so much, like so many like like awful things through her life and oppression and injustice and corruption that really made her hard, but made her life hard. But she never stopped fighting. She never stopped doing everything she could to not just like look after herself, but look after other people. Like um, it's super random, but yeah, she got like kicked out of her PhD program when I was a baby, like when I was like a few years old, because she was fighting for she wanted to do her dissertation on homelessness and injustice and poverty, and it was like they the faculty at the university didn't want anything to do with it, so they just like made up made up a bunch of stuff. Like they basically like got her kicked out of the program. And like she has dealt with so much stuff like that throughout her life, and she never stopped fighting. She never stopped trying to like do the best that she could and take care of me and motivate me and inspire me. Like even when she was struggling, she always would take her time to talk to me and text me and call me and give me like, you know, a little bit of love. And just I don't know. My whole life I've always just been thinking about her and trying to do the best I can to make her proud and make, you know, make her make her happy. And that like I'm still doing that to this day. And every day where I'm having a tough time, I just kind of it's like subconscious thing. Like I just think of my mom, and it just gives me like a lot of energy and hope and motivation to just keep going and keep fighting and just trying to be the best I can. So
Yeah, I feel you. And it's no wonder that work ethic and even just humility and desire to help others has been instilled in you from your mom.
oh yeah, definitely. She's like she's like I mean, I'm biased, but she's really the greatest person like I've ever met. And like, I think a lot of people like love to, I mean, over the years, like people always like say like really nice things about like, kind of like, I guess how I am or the things I've done and stuff. And like, to me, it's just a reflection of my mom. Like I spent so much time with her my whole life. She really instilled like all the values that I have to this day as a person in me. And yeah, I really like my dad too, but yeah, I really like owe everything to like so much to my mom, and I'm always gonna be grateful for that.
Well, shout out to Joey's mom if you listen to this. We're big fans. The entire league community and streaming community is big fans.
Love you.
How did you find balance? So you're a competitor. You're one of the best League of Legends players in the world. Over 100 million people were playing League at its height, a month. And you were at the top. Now you're a full-time streamer and content creator. How do you balance being good at the game versus being entertaining?
Ah, yes. So it's definitely tricky, right? You can see it across the board with competitive games. Like when you are trying to be the very best or you're hyper competitive and every game you play on stream or whatever, is paramount. Like you have to win every game, and you put that pressure on yourself. It's really hard, right? Because it's harder to communicate. It's harder to read chat. It's harder to make jokes. It's harder to have fun, like banter with people. It's a difficult balancing act. I'll be honest, and it's still something that I'm learning and trying to improve on, like to this day. And it's crazy because I've been basically like playing in streaming league for like 10 years now. But I would say for me personally, I've always kind of strived to, yes, play the best that I can, but at the end of the day, make sure that I'm having fun with it too, right? Not like not in the sense that I'm trying to make everyone watching have fun or entertain everybody watching a certain way. It's mainly I'm just trying to make sure that I'm having a good time playing the game and doing what I am doing, and hopefully that energy will just transfer to the people watching, and I will try my best to talk to people and crack jokes and have fun with it, but also play my very best. And usually when I'm playing well and like the games are going good, I'm having more fun too. So it's kind of like a positive feedback loop that kind of builds on itself, and it's not always easy, right? Like everyone that's played a competitive game, whether it's league or something else, like knows like sometimes you just get your team just run it down. You just lose every game. And it's really hard to keep it positive. It's really hard to keep it fun, and not get super tilted and sad about it. And I literally like 2 streams ago, I lost like 10 games in a row, and through it all, I've been there before. I've done it, but it still sucks. It still hurts a lot. But you just gotta try your best to stay true and not really like let that take over and ruin everything, right? So it's really a matter of just trying to balance the things that you care about. For me, it's having fun with the game, making sure people are entertained and learning and having a good time, and also winning. And I won't prioritize in general. I may have in the past at some points, but I won't prioritize like you know comedy or making people laugh over like competitive integrity and doing well in the game I'm playing. I'll just try to integrate it all at once, I guess. And
Well, I guess
it's
it
definitely
also
not easy, but
it spills over to your other content, right? Like you mentioned YouTube earlier. Like, is that content about you being like making epic plays, or is it about funny things that you're doing?
it's definitely both. So me and my like YouTube team, we work really hard on the channel. And for me, if I have like an incredible game, but I'm like a little quiet or tilted or something like that, I'm just like super focused, or like someone's briefing me, I'll probably be like, okay, like this is probably worth like editing and putting up there for people to see. Like it was just a good game. Like I think there's a lot of value in that. And then also if I don't have an incredible game, like if it's a tough game, but I'm in a really good mood or just having a lot of fun, the gameplay was interesting, stuff like that, I'll be like, okay, like this is probably worth it too. Like, and the best is when it's like a combination of those things. Like, and it's not, it doesn't happen every day, but when it happens, it feels really good because just from the feedback and the comments like that, I know everyone enjoys so much. Like when I'm able to like pop off and be at my best and have fun and be cracking jokes and memeing around and stuff, and the energy is good. Like that's my favorite. Like I wish League wasn't so random, so I could feel like that every time I play or every time I stream. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but that's really like the goal, the golden content that I think we love to see.
Have you ever thought about, you know, whether it's like playing on Smurfs or playing on like leveling up or like any of those things that a lot of people do, knowing that the games will be a lot easier and you'll win a lot more and you'll create flashy plays, or does that not a path that you went down?
Yeah, so it is really common. A lot of people do that, and nothing to take away from people that Smurf a lot or kind of like create games for content, which does happen a bit. I guess personally for me, like it's something that I've never really like done. Like I've smurfed a little bit in the past, like historically, like very little though. I've done some like challenges, like my original like unranked to challenger with Yasuo marathon. I've done like autofill a challenger, like interesting stuff like that to keep it fresh. And a lot of people do show love and like seem to like a lot. But yeah, for me, I kind of prefer to just play like at my normal level with like the best players that I can at the time, and just if it doesn't make as fun like snowbally content or as crazy like pop off games, I'm okay with that, because for me it's just like the real genuine experiences that I'm having, rather than like going in and playing against people who are at a way lower level. And of course I know I'll pop off, and of course I know I could get crazy plays and highlights and stuff, and that's fun and all, and nothing to take away from it. And it's something that maybe I'll do just as like a fun new thing to try one day a little bit. But I've kind of never gravitated towards it, because for me it's just more genuine and feels a little bit better when I'm just making plays in normal games that feel like I'm earning like the pop offs, I'm earning the hype that I'm kind of feeling like. If I like pop off, get a pentakill in like a challenger game against like LCS players, I'm like, hey, it's the kid, let's go.
Straight to Twitter,
like,
straight to Reddit.
Yeah, so like dancing, like it just feels good. Yeah. But like if I did that against like like gold players, like I mean, yeah, if it's a crazy play like out of my mind, I might get hyped up, but I can't really dance. I can't really start like twerking. Like I can't like go off about it like in the same way, at least like to myself, So that's kind of like part of it, I guess.
Yeah. When you over the years, you've kind of been through a lot. You've learned a lot. Have you ever thought about giving it up, the content creation side, and being this personality?
I mean, there's definitely been like paths and opportunities that have kind of maybe like present themselves in some ways over the years. But I think at the core of it all, whenever I was like have a conversation or someone would come to me with an idea or something like that about like, oh, like maybe try something different, I always in my head I was like, I just really love like what I'm doing. I love streaming. I love like it sounds like cliche, but I really do love my community. Like they've been with me through the years and through some of the hardest times of my life. And who knows like how long I'll be able to keep streaming and making content and stuff. But I just know like as long as I am, I'll always appreciate everything that everyone's done for me, and I'll never forget that. So it's really important to me like to be there for the people that have been there for me in a way throughout the years. So I think in my own world, like my ideal headcanon, like it would be great if I could continue making content for years to come. And if I ever wanted to dabble into, trying out anything else or whatever, life's crazy doors might open up down the road, it'd be nice to continue like doing what I'm doing, even if it's not at like the same rate. But honestly, yeah, I don't really know what the future holds, but I do know that I really love what I am kind of like blessed to get to do every day. So I would love to be able to keep doing that.
Over the years, has stability and like balance became more of an important topic for you, or are you constantly on the hustle? Like I gotta go live today, I gotta live. Or you thought about like, no, I need a few days off every week or a day off every week?
Yeah, so there was definitely periods, and like looking back on my younger years, where in my head I was just like, okay, I gotta stream every day. Like people are gonna be mad at me, people are gonna forget about me. Like I need to stream as much as I can every single day. Like I was doing like 7 days a week, like 12, 14-hour streams every day. And I did that for a long time, but definitely more so in the last few years, took a step back. And, if I am struggling a bit personally, or I'm not feeling at 100%, or, I just feel like I need a reset for whatever reason, I'll just take the time off, and I might update my title or something like that, but I won't really try to stress out about too much, or stress my viewers out. Kind of, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll be on soon. Because I think for me personally, like when I stream, like it's all about like how I'm feeling. It's just like my genuine energy and like feelings and emotions through the games and experiences that I'm playing. So if I'm not feeling at 100% of what, like 100% of what I'm capable of, and who I am, then to me it doesn't feel right. I don't want to go live, and I don't want to stream when I'm like, not in the best mentality or best mood. And sometimes I've done it, and sometimes it works out and I have a great stream and it's all good, and sometimes it doesn't, and I'm like, man, maybe I should just chill today, like reset. But I think it's also different for every person, right? Like that's kind of how I've done it, but some people might, they might find solace or comfort in streaming, even when they're going through a little rough patch or whatever. Like it really just depends. But yeah, I definitely encourage people to look out for their mental health and their well-being, and don't push yourself to the limit, because that is not, the work and life and hobby balance that you want for like a successful and happy future. And for me, like, yeah, like it's kind of like I'm counting my blessings in a way. Like it's a little privilege that I have the luxury of being able to like take some days off if I need it, or not go live, or be like, hey guys, like I need a bit of a reset. But I'm super grateful, and I don't think I would have been able to stream for the last X amount of years, and have like a decade-long career in streaming and content creation if I wasn't like also looking after myself and taking time when I need it to make sure that I'm okay before I can make great content for the fans.
Yeah, I think it's super true. I've always admired you when I was a kind of peer and competing. I was in Europe, you were in America, but later on when I came to America, I always felt like you understood the business side of the industry a lot more than many of our peers at the time. And you felt like you've always had this kind of entrepreneurial attitude around, your persona and like the opportunities that were available to you. With streaming really taking off, I mean, you've done it for a long time, but it's like really kind of blown up, right, in the last few years, with different companies getting involved. Have you had the opportunity to really like lean into the entrepreneur side? Like, this is a business. Like, I am growing a business.
Yeah, for sure. So when I stopped competing LCS in 2014, that was 6 years ago now, which is so crazy to think about. Like 6 years, that's insane. But yeah, so I was streaming full time, running like my socials and my YouTube channel and all this stuff, obviously with the help of my YouTube editor, stuff like that. But basically doing like juggling all these hats, and then also talking to sponsors and companies and these brands, and trying to, get people to trust me enough to represent their products or their brand and to my audience and stuff. And obviously, sponsorships are super common now, but I think for many years, it was definitely a little bit of a confusing thing. Like, when you do a promo, people be like, oh, sell out, like, ha ha ha, like that kind of stuff. And people still do that, but it's like, I think now it's more memes, whereas people before like didn't really understand too much. But yeah, it's been quite a journey, like throughout the years, trying to be like a full-time content creator while handling all these business relationships and representing sponsors. And it's all important, right? At the end of the day, like it's all stuff that most kind of like established streamers these days, at least they'll have opportunities. Like companies will come to them or be like, hey, like, we want you to show off this game or this new headset, this kind of stuff. And it was hard, man. Like having to have these meetings and these conversations and these negotiations and going back and forth on contracts. Definitely had, my my boy Bryce, my lawyer, to help me with all of those like contract negotiations, which is super important. Make sure you have a lawyer review. If you're not represented by like an agency or something like that, make sure you have lawyers review your contracts. Can't stress that enough. But nowadays it's nicer because I work with Loaded, my agency, who does a lot of that stuff for me and helps take care of me. And it actually has taken a lot of um, stress and pressure off my plate from having to handle all those things, and allows me to now focus more on the streaming and the content creation. So that's really nice. That's like a nice eventual goal for people. I think if it works, if it makes sense for you to think about, like that's something that could be an opportunity in the future. But yeah, it's definitely been a wild ride through the gaming industry, man.
It's still going. They're still on that
yeah,
train.
for sure.
It's the fun thing. Well, we've had a great convo about your journey where you are today. What's one thing that you wish you knew earlier? If you could go speak to 15-year-old Joey back when you were in 2010.
Invest in Amazon. Oh wait. Like as a streamer. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me think about this.
That was cheeky.
I would say as a person and as a streamer and a content creator and all this, like it's not just okay to okay. It's not just okay to be yourself. It's actually the best thing you could possibly do. I think for a long time growing up and, starting streaming and programming and stuff like that, I was really trying to see where I fit in the world and discover like who I was and what is my place, like what should I be doing, what am I like, how should I carry myself, like what am I contributing to the world. And over the years I just kind of realized like it's not something that I don't need. It's not something I should be like really stressing about. Like I should just be who I am and be genuine and feel the experiences and share like how I'm really feeling with people and keep doing the best that I can do, whether I was competing or as a streamer and stuff like that. And for me personally, it's been the best thing I ever kind of like was able to like mature and understand about myself. Like, not having to like feel like I have to live up to any expectations or put extra pressure on myself or be someone else or be more than I am, like not having to like it's hard, right? Those are stuff that are kind of built into our like subconscious, but just realizing that I can just be me and just do the best that I can do, like right, like I don't have to be the best league player in the world, even though I'll always try. I don't have to be the best streamer in the world, even though I'll always try my best. I just got to do the best that I can do, and that's enough. That's all you can ask of yourself.
Love it. Sage wisdom. That's a really good point. Just be you. I like it. Joey, Voyboy, this was absolutely incredible. It was such an honor to sit down and have this chat. A big fan of you and everything you've accomplished and continue to accomplish. You're paving the way for many people in this industry. So thank you. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
Aw, shucks, you're making me blush, man. Hey, thanks for the conversation. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone listening to this, hopefully got something out of it. And I believe in you. You got this, man. Or any, not man, woman, child,
all
anybody.
of
you got this. Everyone's got this.
The entire family, everyone.
Exactly. And yeah, so you can find me at my Twitch TV /Voyboy, youtube.com/Voyboy. Instagram at Voyboy, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. It's just all at Voyboy. And I'm chilling. Thanks for having me, man.